Thank you very much. You may call your first witness.
State called Summer Horton.
Remember the camera persons? I told you this next witness, I'm going to ask you not to show her on video. And I'd also like to ask any print media not to take any pictures of this particular witness for the next one either.
If you please step up in your witness stand. Remain standing. Raise your right hand. Face clerk, please.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. Would you please state and spell your name for the record?
Summer Ann Horton, SUMMERHORTON.
Thank you.
Ma'am, you can direct attention right over here. Could you give me your name again?
Summer Horton?
Is it right if I call you Summer?
Yes.
Summer, I want to direct your attention to back when you were in high school. Where did you go to high school?
Centennial High School?
Okay. And specifically in May of 2009, were you a student there?
Yes.
And that was towards the end of the school year?
Yes.
You're getting excited for summer?
Yes.
Okay. Did something happen on that particular day that brings you here to court?
Yes.
All right. Could you tell us what happened as you went to the bathroom?
I was walking to the restroom during English class, one of the last periods of the day, and I went into the restroom, and as I was coming out of the restroom, as I was opening the door, someone came in and put their hands on my throat and pushed me up against the back of the restroom stall. I was starting to pass out. And someone came in the bathroom, so he let his hands off of me slowly, and I jumped up on the toilet seat and screamed for help.
Let me stop for a second. Okay. Let's work back. You said you were in English class?
Yes.
And when you left English class to go to the bathroom, did you run into anybody or encounter anybody on your way from class to the bathroom?
Yes, I saw him in the hallway, and I held the door open for him, and then I walked into the restroom, which was right across from the hallway.
All right. You're referring to a him that you opened the door for. Who is that?
Javier Righetti.
You see him here in court today.
Yes.
Could you point to him and describe something he's wearing?
Blue tie.
The record reflected identification of the defendant.
So reflected.
So if I've understood correctly, as you left English class, you opened some door for the defendant?
Yes. As I was walking out, I held it open for him to walk in.
Was there any communication between the two of you?
No. Eye contact.
You made eye contact with him?
Yes.
Did he make eye contact with you?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
How far from that spot where you held the door was the girl's bathroom?
Probably about 10 feet.
Did you
In
go
between.
right from holding the door for the defendant to the girl's bathroom?
Yes.
All right. When you talked about opening a door, is this when you were inside the bathroom?
No.
Okay. When you got into the bathroom, and you talked a moment ago about how you were about to get out, were you talking about the stall inside the bathroom?
When I was coming out of the restroom, yes, I'm talking about the stall door.
All right, that's what I was just trying to make clear.
Yes.
So when you said you were coming out the door, you didn't mean the actual outside bathroom door, did you?
No.
You're
The
talking
stall
about
door.
the stall that you were in using the bathroom?
Yes.
Okay. So were you finished going to the bathroom?
Yes, I was finished going to the bathroom. I had my clothes on and everything, and then as soon as I unlocked the door is when it got pushed back on me.
Okay. And who pushed the door back on you?
Javier Righetti.
And who grabbed you?
Javier Righetti.
Where did the defendant grab you?
Both hands on my throat, upper neck.
Did you have difficulty breathing?
Yes.
Because you had difficulty breathing, did you have difficulty saying anything?
Yes, I couldn't say anything. I immediately tried to scream for help, but I couldn't do anything.
Where were you physically in the bathroom when he had your throat?
I was pushed up my back against the back of the bathroom stall, and my legs were kind of straddling the toilet because it was right in front of me, behind me.
Was anything said to you?
He was saying, "Shut up and I won't hurt you."
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear
He
you.
was saying, "Shut up and I won't hurt you," over and over again.
Did you say anything?
No.
Were you afraid of being hurt?
Yes. Very.
And did you say someone else came into the bathroom?
Yes. Another female came into the bathroom. I'm not sure when she did, but I know that she did because that's when he started to let go, and I realized he was letting go, so I jumped up on top of the toilet seat.
Okay, so when the other girl came to the outside door of the bathroom, you were still inside the stall?
Yes.
And the defendant had you by the throat in the stall?
Yes, and he was backing out.
And did he say anything as he backed out?
He said, well, I got on the toilet seat, screamed for help to the girl, and she just looked at us both like she didn't know what was going on, and he said, "She's effing crazy."
The defendant said that?
Yes,
And
to me.
What did he do?
He then, after he said that, he ran out of the bathroom.
What did you do?
I got down from the toilet seat, and me and the girl both just looked at each other, and then we walked out into the hallway where we saw the nurse, because the nurse's office was right next to the restroom.
Did the nurse attend to you?
Yes.
Eventually were police called?
I believe that it was the school police that were called.
Did you talk to the police, either the school police or others?
Yes.
About what had happened?
Yes.
Eventually, were you asked to come to juvenile court in order to tell that court about what had happened?
Yes.
And you were a part of those proceedings?
Yes.
And then, of course, how old are you now?
24.
Have you tried to put this behind you?
Yes.
Even though you're 24 now, do you remember this?
Very vividly.
Any cross-examination?
No, thank you.
Ms. Martin, thank you very much for your testimony here today. You will step down, you are excused from your subpoena, and you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. State called Michaela Azell.
Okay, I just want to again remind the ladies and gentlemen of the media that I don't want this witness's face or likeness displayed in the media.
Okay, if you please step up into the witness stand. Remain standing, raise your right hand, face the clerk.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Mikaela.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
Good morning. Did you say what your last name was?
I didn't. Did you want my last name at the time or last name now?
Last name now, please.
Ezell, E-Z-E-L-L.
May I proceed? Good morning, Michaela. You mentioned your name now is Michaela Ezell.
Yes.
Did you have a name prior to Ezell?
Yeah, it was Michaela Kitchen.
Have you since gotten married?
Yes.
How old are you as you sit here today?
21.
I'd like to direct your attention back to 2011, specifically March of 2011. How old were you at that time?
15.
Were you living here in Las Vegas?
Yes.
And were you going to school?
Yes.
Where were you going to school?
Arborview High School.
So March, we're just getting towards the end of the year, fair to say?
Yes.
I'd like to direct your attention then to March 8th. I'm sure you don't remember now, but that was a Tuesday. Does it seem like it was the middle of the week?
Yes.
That happened? Okay. Did you go to school that day?
Yes.
After school, did you go somewhere to meet some friends?
Yes.
Can you tell us where you were going?
I was walking down Grand Teton, and we were going to meet on the other side of the tunnels that are on the end of Grand Teton.
Is Grand Teton kind of in the northwest part of town?
Yes.
And is it near Arborview High School?
If you keep following Grand Teton all the way down, Arborview's down there.
Would that be the school that kids in that area, if you lived in that area, you would likely go to Arborview High School?
Yes, that or Centennial Hills.
Okay. So as you were walking down Grand Teton, you said you were going to meet some friends?
Yes.
Tell us about that area. What kind of an area do you have to walk through to get to your friends?
There is a tunnel that goes under the freeway. It's an easy shortcut. Otherwise, you have to go very far to get around the freeway. People walk through there all the time. I knew several friends that always use that route.
And you and your friends would also use that route?
Yeah, that was the first time I had walked it.
Your Honor, permission to publish what has been admitted by stipulation from the state and the defense as states 171 through 181.
They've been admitted?
Yes. Showing you State's Exhibit 171.
They're
What do we
admitted now.
Pardon?
They're admitted now.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor. What do we see here?
That's the entrance of the tunnel.
Okay. And was this the entrance that you were going in, or is this where you would be coming out when you met your friends?
They're both very similar, but it looks like the one that I would go in.
So as you went into the tunnel, you were by yourself, is that
Yes.
right? And then how were you going to coordinate with your friends?
I had actually called them right before I started walking through the tunnel. They let me know they were just on the other side. They were walking up too, so I went ahead and I started walking through the tunnel.
As you were walking through the tunnel, did you have your phone with you?
Yes.
After you got off the phone with your friends, did you put your phone away or did you keep
No,
it in your hand?
I kept it in my hand.
And did you see anyone as you started to walk into the tunnel?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I was almost to the end of the tunnel, and then a man was walking toward me, and he asked if he could use my cell phone. I said no and continued to walk, and then we crossed paths, and then he was behind me and then came up from behind and attacked me.
After you passed by him and told him that he could not use your cell phone, you continued to walk?
Yes, I said no, I'm meeting my friends on the other side, just on the other side. I let him know my friends were there, everything.
Then how did you realize that he was right behind you?
I actually looked over my shoulder, and then he was just right there.
Okay. And then what happened?
He came up from behind me, and he was grabbing me from behind on my neck. And I remember I yelled for my friends. I yelled their names. I knew they were there. And then he just kept pulling harder and harder, and then I just couldn't talk anymore.
When you say he grabbed you on your neck, was that with his hands or his arms or something else?
I believe it was with his arms.
What did he do with you, or where did he take you after he grabbed you?
He pushed me to a tunnel that was off to the side of the main tunnel.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 172. Is this a closer look down into the tunnel?
Yes.
Now, you mentioned that he pulled you kind of onto like a side tunnel or an arm of that tunnel. Did you know that that even existed?
I knew it was there, but I just thought it was like a short offset, and that it was just a dead end. I didn't realize it kept going.
So once he pulled you in there, did you realize it was actually a long arm of the tunnel that went all the way across the other side of the street?
Yes.
Showing you State's Exhibit 173. Is this now into that arm and that side of the tunnel?
Yes.
What happened after he pulled you over there?
I lost consciousness. He just strangled me till I lost consciousness, and then when I woke up, my shorts were off, my shoes were off. He was a little bit ahead of the tunnel, and then when I woke up, he came back to me. He tried to rape me. I stopped him, and then he forced me to give him oral sex. And
Let's go back just a little bit, okay? No, it's okay. You let me know at any point if you want to break or anything, okay?
we can continue.
You said that he pulled you over to the side and then he choked you out until you lost consciousness?
Yes.
Would you have any estimation of how long you were passed out?
I have no idea. It was light, before I passed out, and then it was starting to get dark, but it wasn't yet dark when I woke up again.
And did he use both of his hands when he choked you?
I think so.
You said that you woke up and your shorts were off
Yes.
and you were lying down. Were you on your back?
Yes.
And was he standing up, laying down, or something else?
He was standing up when I woke up, and then I think he kneeled down.
Did he have his clothes on still, or did he?
When I woke up, yes, he did.
At some point, does he then also take his clothes off?
His shorts, yes.
And is he now still standing up?
I believe he kneeled down at that point.
And then you said that at some point he tried to rape you.
Yes.
And was that vaginally?
Yes.
Were you able to successfully fight him off?
Well, he didn't necessarily try. My hands were blocking. I was begging. I was saying I was a virgin, don't rape me, all this stuff. And then he stopped, and that's when he forced me to give him oral sex instead.
When he forced you to give him oral, did he get you up off of the ground? Did he put you on your knees or something?
Yeah, I was kneeling.
And what was he doing?
He was standing.
Did he ever mention anything to you about a weapon?
He said he had a knife. I never saw it, but he said he had it.
Did he say what he would do with the knife if you didn't?
He just told me not to yell, and that he had a knife. He didn't say what he was going to use it, but he said not to yell, not to do anything.
And then he forced himself in your mouth.
Yes.
At some point that stops, is that right?
Yes.
And how is it that that stopped?
I don't remember if my friends called my name, if he saw them at the end of the tunnel. I believe they were yelling my name. And then he made me walk further down into the tunnel where the ladder was, and he made me climb up the ladder and try and open the pothole, which I unsuccessfully, I wasn't able to open it. So then we climbed down, and I was just begging him to let me go, and then he eventually let me go.
Okay. What we see here on State's Exhibit 173 is a little ladder going up the pole. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
And now I'm showing you State's Exhibit 174. Is that the ladder that goes up to the manhole that you're talking about?
Yes.
So you had climbed all the way up that ladder and were actually physically pushing on the top in order to try to remove the manhole. Do you, at that point in time, did you realize, or do you remember if you had been hit or cut, or is that later that you realized?
I didn't realize how bad it was till I was out of the tunnel.
I'm showing you State's Exhibit 175. We see some apparent blood here on the tunnel. Did you later find out or realize that you had actually been cut and injured?
Yes, I had a lot of blood on the back of my head. My knees were scraped. I had bruises on my shoulders. My eyes, the blood vessels had popped in my eyes. I had marks on my neck.
And tell us about where you were bleeding from that would generate quite a bit of blood.
I believe the bleeding was from my head because all the blood was in my hair.
After your friend started yelling, you said he released you, he let you kind of just run away?
Yes.
And what happened?
He stayed in the tunnel, so I'm assuming he got out somehow, and then I just went with my friends, and by that time they had called the police, called the ambulance and everything.
Did you and your friends run to the opposite side of the tunnel than where you were originally trying to go?
We went out the end of the tunnel where I would have ended up,
Okay.
not the entrance where I came in.
And did police come to you at that location, or did you go to see them?
The police came to me.
And did your parents come to get you?
Yes.
You were able to give a statement to the police and tell them about what had happened to you?
Yes.
And do you remember that they took some pictures of you that kind of gave an overview of some of your injuries?
Yes.
Showing you State Exhibit 176. Was that you then?
Yes.
And you were 15 years old at the time?
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Showing you State's Exhibit 177. What do we see here?
Those were the blood vessels in my eyes.
And describe for me how this changed from the time that this picture took throughout the next week.
It actually got a lot worse. It covered most of my eye,
Meaning
both eyes.
And when you say cover, you mean the bloodshot portion?
Yes.
Showing you State's Exhibit 178. What do we see here?
That was the bruising on my neck, and I had marks on my chest.
How, if at all, did this change over the next week?
It was really tender and sore and like swollen and bruised.
State's Exhibit 179. Do we see here?
I think those are like the blood vessels in the bottom of my neck.
Did that also change over the next
Yes.
week? And how?
It progressively got worse.
State's Exhibit 180. Do we see here?
Those are the scrapes on my knees.
And State's Exhibit 181.
That's the bruising on my shoulders.
And did you have that throughout your back and on both sides of your shoulder?
Yes.
This happened a long time ago.
Yes.
6 years have passed. How has this affected you still to this day?
I've been able to move past it, but I'm glad we're finally getting justice. I'm married now, I'm happy, I moved on.
Court's indulgence. Ask the witness.
Cross-examination?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony here today. Thank you for being here. You may step down and excuse me, your subpoena.
Take over Detective Dan Long.
Please step up and remain standing, raise your right hand, face the clerk, please.
You can stand this way and test you're about to give this action. Show me the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. Please state spelling your name and address.
Dan Long, D-A-N-L-O-N-G.
Thank you.
Sir, we've already gone through who you are and what you do for a living. I want to kind of get some things out of the way towards the beginning, showing you State's Proposed Exhibit 182. Do you recognize what that is?
That's a transcription of the entire interview that Detective Wilson and I did with Javier Righetti.
Okay. And so the parts that we were referencing earlier did not have it in its entirety. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And what we have there is the entire statement.
That's correct.
And I said 182, didn't I?
That's correct.
Look at the admission of State's 182.
Any objection? Submitted.
Detective, I also want to show you another proposed exhibit, 170. Can I approach?
You may.
Detective, you testified earlier in the first proceeding about video that was obtained from Albertsons and 7-Eleven. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Was there in fact a video of Javier Righetti in the 7-Eleven after the murder?
There is.
Is that a copy of that video?
There is. Yes, it is.
I move for the admission of States 170 and ask to publish.
No objection.
Submitted. You may publish.
Detective, prior to testifying, have you reviewed this video?
I have.
Now, we heard during the trial about the issues tied to the date and time stamp from the 7-Eleven video. Do you remember that issue?
Yes, I do.
And notwithstanding that issue, were you able to establish the date and times of those videos based on the original review of them by Detective Embry?
Yes.
And so the video that we're about to watch, is that from the 3rd
Yes.
of
September.
September 2011?
Yes, sir.
And is that in the evening hours on the 3rd, about 7 o'clock in the evening?
It is.
So it's not even really, well, it's about 24 hours after Alyssa was killed.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, in the course of your investigation, obviously, you talked about the interview. You've dealt with and seen Javier Righetti in person.
Many times.
And as you look at this video, do you recognize who that is?
That's Javier Righetti. In the red, or the black hat.
Does he
Everybody's
appear to
wearing
be
it.
smiling and laughing with one of the individuals inside the store?
Yes, he is.
Does he purchase something from that 7-Eleven store?
Yes.
to have a smile.
He is enjoying himself, yes.
And you're familiar with that from your investigation, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, in your investigation and in your statement with him, you actually got information involving victims other than just Alyssa, is that correct?
That is correct.
Did you in fact gain information in your investigation about an incident that occurred at Centennial High School with the summer of work?
Yes.
Was she the young woman that was the first to testify here today?
Yes.
And are you aware of the proceedings as far as him being charged and the juvenile court system being involved?
Yes.
And are you aware of the fact that in the juvenile system, the defendant pled guilty pursuant to the Alford decision to a second-degree kidnapping?
That's correct.
And are you aware that there was an issue as to whether or not that was a sexually motivated crime?
Yes.
And are you aware that there were efforts made in the whole process to establish whether it was or was not sexually motivated?
Yes.
Wait, what's wrong?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to recess for lunch. During this recess, you're admonished not to talk or converse amongst yourselves with anyone else on any subject connected with this trial, be brought to listen to the report of a commentary on time versus connected with this trial, having a medium of information, including without limitation, newspapers, television, the internet, radio, phone, press, any opinion on any subject connected with this trial, until the case is finally submitted to you. We'll be in recess for 1 hour and 15 minutes. We'll start again at 1 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next week, please, sir.
I'm sorry? No. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
The record will reflect the
Please be
hearing is
seated.
taking place outside the presence of the jury panel. Exhibit 207 was objected to, the objection was overruled, so it'll be admitted, and then we'll start again at 1 o'clock.
But Judge, just because we've been admitting PowerPoints and stuff, the photograph I did show in my opening, if I could approach and have it tomorrow.
No objection.
Court's exhibit?
Yes.
Okay, court's exhibit next time.
Oh, no, we don't want to, we want to actually enter it in.
Oh, you want to actually enter?
Yeah.
And we have no objection.
That'll be defendants, it'll be
Yeah,
defendants.
no, that's exactly right.
8, so it's 8 and it's admitted.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Court is in recess till 1 o'clock.